Look at this little carousel of wonder. Popped down to my superstore the other day and they had these bare root plants, and I put them on a little carousel to show you. There was common hazel, so I got 2 of those to complement my cob nuts and filberts. White currant, there's the other common hazel, and also this wonderful plant here for only £3 Great British pounds, and it's a cherry plum mirabelle. Now I was very excited because I do have gypsy mirabelle, but this is the one I've been after. I think some people might even call this a mirabelle Nancy, which is because the region in France where they are used for making all sorts of things, including a special brandy, but I'd just be interested in the mirabelles. Wow! The exciting thing was that the bare root plants, including this wonderful beauty, which is a black jewel raspberry, it's a black raspberry. Now then, looking at it, it looks like it's thornless to me, but the price on them said £3. When they were scanned, they come out at £1.50 on a special. And if you were also interested in this superstore, they also had roses, similarly bare rooted, just like these white currants, bare rooted in this protective case, and it says on them £3, but they scan at £1.50 on a special. I don't know about the roses, obviously these other plants here, and this was the lovely thing I found. I couldn't believe my luck when I found this. It is, believe it or not, a self-pollinating kiwi. And that was £3 Great British pounds. And I got 2 of them, and apparently they're very cold tolerant. And on my video, which is earlier, you can see someone's got one on the allotments. Some lucky person trailing along the fence. I can't wait. And I got 2 of them. So, what an exciting trip for me to go to the garden centre and see that. We were just going to get 1 of each, but I thought, I mean, white currant Versailles. What is not to like about that? Success stories in the garden, despite this recent cold snap, have been fennel. This has grown very well this year. I planted out 2 lots of parsley. The second lot really did take, as you can see, fantastic crop, great crop. The most successful cuttings I've had from greenwood and youngwood, that's this season's growth, have been from mirabelle, probably because of the wildness of it. So basically I've taken some more this year because I've got a couple of spacers in my own garden, and you can see that they are green stem cuttings. I basically just cut them again into chunks. Make sure you put them into the water in the right way up. These have now been in the water about 3 or 4 days. I'll put root hormone powder just on the very ends of them, just on the very tips at the very end only, okay? And then dip them into, well, put them into my compost pot, and there hopefully they'll root. Because of all the cuttings I've taken, the mirabelle seems to be the best, and it seems to root very well. The chamomile still a little bit in flower, late October. Again, the ones I've taken indoors, I'll show you what I've done with those. Once winter sets in, berries such as these ivy berries will turn black, and they'll be part of the essential food for birds. And I've got ivy cloaking and this red currant bush here. Perfect cover for small birds. I keep changing the water regularly on the bird bath. There is a little box there which robins will sometimes hide in. They're not nested in there, but birds have nested in this area here. Rosemary cuttings seem to have taken well. Brought them back from the allotment to home, just handy for the kitchen. After the beast from the east, I emptied my pond, and this year I do keep emptying it now. I've done 2 or 3 water changes, and I'll do another one before the ice really sets in, and I've got a plan now for when it gets all icy to put hot containers on the top to melt through the ice rather than bash it. And I'm also making a big compost heap for frogs to hibernate in as well, to give them a choice. Some plum tree seeds will actually take and you'll get plum trees growing in your garden. They might not be true to the parent, but it's a way of getting propagation. This plum tree grew from a seed. It even got chainsawed when someone paid for a tree surgeon. He stepped into my garden, chainsawed it. You can see where he got it, and it still survived the chainsaw. So there you go, nature fights back. So this grew from seed. This is another plum tree that grew from a seed that landed in a pot. I was growing something else, and instead the plum took over. On my garden thermometer at the moment it's reading just under 10. I think it's one of these alcohol ones, and it does go down to very low temperatures, so it is for the UK probably about the average temperature for this time of year, but in the sunshine it does cheer you up quite a bit. I like growing some hedging plants like hornbeam just for the beautiful leaf shape. They're like sort of crinkle cut crisps, aren't they? But just the shape of them and the colour in autumn. Never had a lot of luck with carrots, but these ones could be my first possible success. I'm about to lift them next week, and they're orange ball carrots. I just did one little tub of them, so let's see how they get on. Here in the UK we've had a terrible disease called box blight, and whole garden centres have had to remove it, and even the National Trust near where I live have got rid of all their box. But luckily my box has survived it, possibly because I sprayed it using the formula of some milk and a little bit of detergent, because it's antifungal. Got to remember to bring this Passiflora incarnata passion flower indoors. I keep forgetting with these plants. I had one down the allotment, had massive passion flowers, but this one, they seem to be a bit frost tender. Saw these flowers in Loughborough, or as it's lovingly known, Lugabaruga, at the market, and I had to have them. Got them last year, and they're actually called Hot Lips. And here we go, late October, it's nearly November, and the cheeky things are still flowering. Absolutely gorgeous, love the stuff. Hot Lips. The only tomatoes I grew this year were from a packet of seeds from Aldi, which came with a propagator. One or two of the seeds took okay, and this was the best of them. It's like a tumbling tom. So I've tried a few, they're quite nice. Probably better in a greenhouse, whatever they say, but I don't have one. You can grow parsley, but you can grow celery, which is difficult to grow, but it's much easier to grow parcel, a cross between, I don't know whether it's a cross or not, but anyway, it seems to grow beautifully here in the UK in tubs. Japanese quince, Canemoles, what a strange plant this is. Fantastically aromatic, great if you bring it indoors. Use it as an air freshener as they do in Japan, just as it is. I even showed you how to make a refreshing drink from this last Christmas, so I'll have another go. Leave some of these ripening. They'll stay on the plant well into December. They only start dropping in very late December and January. Up there you can just see the last of the Virginia creeper. The sparrows love nesting in this, and it turns to this gorgeous fiery red colour. The whole of the side of the house was covered in this. The storm's taken most of it away, so they'll have to find somewhere else to nest, hopefully in a privet hedge or something, away from the hawks. The most easy soft fruit to root is definitely blackcurrant. I've got a whole host of them to plant, and these have just been left in water since last year, since 2017 autumn, and I put some plant food in the water, just not too much, and I've just topped it up. They actually, believe it or not, flowered and then fruited only in water, like hydroponics, so I'd recommend them for cuttings. Blackcurrants are brilliant. this rock rose produces beautiful rose hips. It's a white rock rose. I'm going to try and grow some from seed. You can try cuttings as well, so some of this, you're supposed to take this year's growth in the summer, but I'll try now in the autumn. You're supposed to put it indoors in some compost, use a bit of rooting hormone, but I'm also going to try, as I say, to grow from seed, and the rose hips look very useful. Some of the varieties of apples we've grown this year, the Granny Smiths have been successful. By these Golden Delicious, by leaving them on a little bit as the colds come, they've become more russet, and I think it's improved the flavour of them as an eating apple. And of course there are Bramleys, that's just a small one, and you can make yourself sort of an apple compote from it. I've used the apples every day making a compote. Basically you cut up 2 or 3 apples, you can cube them, you need to peel them, put them in a pan on low heat, add some lemon juice, a little bit of sugar to taste, not too much, simmer them, and you can see that the apples become sort of comminuted and break down, and then you can put them into some clean jars and a lid, keep them in the fridge for a few weeks, have them every day. You can put them on meat and stuff like that, or even on your toast, or use them with desserts. So that's another way of using apple. As you can see from my deep freeze, the sweet corn grown this year have been blanched. Hinamaki gooseberries again similarly have been frozen, and they can be used for all sorts of recipes over the winter. So it's just storing your soft fruit as best as you can, including other fruit in my little chest freezer, which will be black currants and even some raspberries. There you go, there's some black currants there with some more gooseberries. It was a good year for gooseberries. And next to them some red currants as well. I enjoyed watching Petals talking about how he was drying his herbs. So what I've done with mine is I've put them into bags and I've got them drying on hung on a fridge magnet on the warm side of my fridge. I've got this terrible fridge called a candy fridge. It loses heat through the sides and not through the back, so the best place to dry herbs is here. So I've got these, and of course I've got bay and chamomile and whatever other herbs I'm growing, some sage as well, and of course the fennel. And what I've been doing with them, I have got one of these which is called a mulled wine infuser. I suppose you can put the herbs into that and put them into water, but I've also got one of these jugs. Here at the moment I've got the garden mint, which is a really strong mint, and this, you basically put the herbs in boiling water on top, and then once this goes on the plunge, this plunger goes down, as you can see it filters them, so I can then add them 50-50 and heat it up and have tea with this. Add a bit of milk if you like, but I suppose you're using your allotment stuff that you're growing. Typical wacky experiment I've shown before, but here's one. We've got a pear tree cutting from this year's growth. I left it in water about the 2nd week, and there's little tiny, I think they look like rootlets coming out of it. So another one for an experiment with a bit of hormone rooting powder and into compost, but hey ho, we crack on with experiment. Or can you actually grow your own sweet chestnut tree from some proper sweet chestnuts found in the forest? Wow, apparently you have to have 2 of them to get pollination. I haven't got space for them, but my goodness, what a wonderful thing to try, growing a little tree. Well, that's it from me, and if you live in the UK, you could get your skates on, go down to a superstore B&Q, see if they've still got some bare root plants left on special. I shan't always be able to put loads of videos on. I'm very busy as a carer for my partner, and she is unwell. But I think gardening is a fantastic therapeutic activity, and I love the YouTube community. I'll be watching your videos, won't always comment, but I've enjoyed sharing this with you, and I'll keep doing all my wacky experiments.